morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, January the 26th. JOAN STACK is with us from the State Historical Society, and she brought a treasure trove out here today. You've got a very special event coming up. Is it Saturday,
yes,
January 28th, right?
The 28th at 1:30 to about 3 o'clock at the State Historical Society Art Gallery, which is in Ellis Library on the ground floor on the MU campus. So just look for us there. We have entrances on Lowry Mall and Hitt Street. We are going to have a walkthrough of one of my favorite exhibits that we've had in recent years. It's called From Boone to Black Elk, Visualizing Native and Colonial Experiences in Contested Middle Grounds. And the idea is to explore the relationship between the cultures of the Native Americans and the cultures of the European Americans in this space that we have shared, the United States, Missouri. So some of the images that we have on display have to do directly with Missouri and the Native Americans that were here. And then half of the exhibit showcases a series of drawings by a Native American artist, Standing Bear, who illustrated this book, Black Elk Speaks.
Okay. The book was written by
John Neihardt in collaboration with Black Elk, who was a Sioux spiritual leader. And the artist who worked with them was Standing Bear, who was also a member of the Sioux people. And he did these wonderful images that really present the history of the Native American people and the Sioux from their point of view.
Now, the Sioux spiritual leader, when you say a Sioux spiritual leader, Black Elk.
Yes.
What was his main duty to the Native Americans?
Well, you know, he was a warrior and he did other things too, besides being a spiritual leader. He had visions, and early in his life, he had kept them to himself. But as he became a teenager, he began to talk to people about them.
About the visions that he had.
Yes, and these were seen as important by the other members of his people, and he became recognized as somebody who had a special connection with
to the spiritual world.
To the spiritual world.
The visions that he saw and that he told his people, did it have anything to do with the future of the Native Americans?
I think some of it did, and because he sees some images that he sees as foreshadowing a kind of a difficult times for the Native Americans and difficult times, in fact, with the European Americans. So some of those visions do have.
So he was seeing this before it actually came to pass.
Yeah, some of it, yeah. And so it's quite powerful. We have some images related to those visions. I didn't bring any of those today, but I did I brought a few things that relate to a sort of a show and tell, because what we're going to be doing is not only will we be going through the exhibit and looking at the artworks, we're going to bring out a few special things and allow people, you know, bring young people as well to touch and feel and better understand some of the images they're seeing.
Yeah.
This is a image of a Native American man who was a member of the Iowa, and the Iowa was a group that was here in Missouri. And the reason I brought this here today is because he has an interesting hair ornament.
Yeah, if you're listening on the radio, the picture that was showing the Native American is wearing something on the top of his head, which you call a hair ornament, and it is made of the deer tail hair.
Yeah, the white-tailed deer that have been dyed red, plus the guard hairs of a porcupine, and because of the thickness of this hair, it sticks up.
So, what is the significance of this on top of his head?
Well, you see it in a lot of the Plains Indian images, and I've heard one theory is that it calls to mind the pileated woodpecker and the ornament on his head. The woodpecker was a very respected bird, but I'd always thought, and as a child, that this was their hair, that it was the mohawk. But in fact, it was an ornament. It's an ornament, sometimes called a roach. Okay. And so we have this for people to look at, for the kids to touch.
Another thing you have and I'm holding it in my hand right now, is a buffalo horn.
A buffalo horn. And I brought the image from Standing Bear of the buffalo hunt. And he, of course, describes the buffalo hunt, and the buffalo is absolutely essential to the Native Americans' way of life. And by the time we get to some of the more disturbing images in the exhibit, like the massacre of Wounded Knee, the buffalo has been virtually exterminated among the Sioux. But the buffalo horn really, helps us to better understand the nature of the buffalo. It's a dark black color.
It does, and it has, when I'm holding it, you can feel strands of hair on the horn itself. So people coming down will be able to hold
to touch this.
Yeah, to touch it and hold it in their hand. Now, the buffalo was hunted to extinction, but not by the Native American, was it?
Well, no. I mean, of course, they were hunting the buffalo.
Native Americans always knew you take only what you need and leave the rest.
Yeah.
But the Europeans came in and hunted the buffalo to extinction.
Yeah, there was a great demand for buffalo hides. And of course, some Native Americans, to get money, would also hunt buffalo beyond perhaps what they needed for the financial gain. But of course, there were Buffalo Bill and other famous hunters who really hunted far more buffalo than was necessary and exterminated this important part of the ecosystem. And the Native Americans, especially the Sioux people, were absolutely dependent on the buffalo for food, for shelter. Of course, the teepees were made of the buffalo skins, and so it was devastating to lose. And
not only to mention then diseases that were introduced into the Native Americans, who became very ill. Then the Native Americans were moved to reservations.
That's right. So by the time Black Elk is writing, many of the Sioux are on the Pine Ridge Reservation, which is where the Wounded Knee massacre took place. And of course, we have 4 images of Wounded Knee, which is really interesting by Standing Bear, the artist.
Well, I tell you, Joan, we're almost out of time, but if people want to be a part of this walkthrough, they can come January the 28th, right?
That's right, at 1:30.
1:30 at the State Historical Society. It is free of charge.
That's right.
And
all ages. We'd love to introduce the young people to some of this history.
From about 1:30 until 3 o'clock or so. Will you be leading it?
Yes, I will.
Okay, JOAN STACK, and she really is a fountain of information. You can ask her any question you want. You can't stump the lady. You can't stump her. JOAN STACK, thank you so much.
Oh, thank
for
you.
more information on the internet, what's the address?
Go to our website, which is at shsmo.org.
Okay. JOAN STACK, thank you so much for coming by State Historical Society. Tomorrow we've got music of Kathy and Dave. See you then.